Afghanistan, a land of mountains, poetry, and resilience, a land where every family carries a story of love, loss, and survival. This is the story of those who left and those who stayed. This is the story of Afghan refugees, as collected from the internet and personal interviews conducted by our team. For decades, Afghanistan has been caught in the crossfire of geopolitical struggles, internal conflicts, and shifting regimes. Foreign invasions, civil wars, and the rise of extremist rule have forced millions to flee. Some left during the Soviet invasion, others during the Mujahideen wars, and many more in the wake of Taliban's resurgence. The reasons varied, but the pain was the same, leaving behind homes, memories, and the very fabric of their identity.
I have been to Afghanistan 3 times, but I was born in Europe. My parents, however, were born there. My father's family had to leave after Dr. Nazimullah was murdered. My grandfather was a politician, but he never took money from people. He believed in honesty even when the world around him crumbled. My mother, on the other hand, grew up in Sheberghan, poor and struggling. She had to dress as a boy to survive. You cannot imagine the fear of Mujahideen coming at night, taking men, violating women. That was her childhood. That was our Afghanistan.
Women have often carried the weight of war on their shoulders, but they are not just victims, they are survivors, protectors, and warriors in their own right. For many, leaving Afghanistan was not a choice, it was survival. The streets they once walked freely became prisons of silence. The homes they built with love turned to ruins overnight. The promise of a future vanished in an instant, and yet they persisted.
My cousin, she was a civil servant. She used to wake up every morning, water her flowers, feed her birds, and then go to work. Now, she's confined to the walls of her home in Kabul. In a matter of days, she lost her dreams, her aspirations, her identity, and she is not alone. Women in my family said goodbye to education, goodbye to freedom, goodbye to even stepping outside without fear. They sit in their homes waiting for nothing, hoping for safety.
For many Afghan students, education is a lifeline. But leaving home means more than just seeking knowledge, it means survival. The loss of education in Afghanistan is more than the loss of schools, it is the loss of hope. The Taliban's restrictions on women and the destruction of academic institutions have forced young minds to seek refuge elsewhere. They carry books instead of weapons, but their battle is just as fierce. The battle to preserve knowledge, to reclaim the future that was stolen from them.
Living in India changed my perspective on education. At Jindal, I saw what learning could be: open, dynamic, a space for critical thinking. It made me ambitious, competitive, but it also reminded me of what I left behind. Classrooms in Kabul now empty, girls unable to study. I was lucky, but I carry the weight of those who weren't.
The journey from Afghanistan is never straight. Some fled to Pakistan or Iran. Others crossed the Turkmen border, seeking safety in Uzbekistan, Russia, Turkey. Many faced dangers. Border guards with guns, the uncertainty of where they would sleep, the fear of being turned away. Families were scattered across continents, some settling in Europe, others in Australia, Turkey, or the US. But no matter how far they traveled, Afghanistan was always with them, in the food they cooked, the language they spoke, and the prayers they whispered.
When I was in India, I was a part of an Afghan community where we would participate and connect through community celebrations such as Eid and Nowruz. These weren't just cultural events, they were a way to stay connected to my identity while being away from home. I would also prepare traditional Afghan dishes and share them with my other fellow Afghans on those occasions. This way, I felt connected to my roots.
culture is not just in grand celebrations, it is in the little things: a recipe passed down, a language spoken in hushed tones, a lullaby sung to a child who may never see the mountains of Afghanistan. It is in resilience.
Living in India had a huge impact on how I perceive education and career opportunities. India's educational system exposed me to diverse ideas and people from different backgrounds. It taught me the value of critical thinking, adaptability, and networking. I became more ambitious, more competitive, and it pushed me to think bigger. But every success I achieve, I know, is built on the sacrifices my family made when I left home.
Afghan refugees carry their past with them, but they also carry their futures. They're not just displaced people, they're doctors, students, mothers, daughters, and sons. They're Afghanistan. Where they go, they carry it with them. And one day, perhaps in another lifetime, they will return to a home that is no longer a memory, but a place where they can truly belong. For the millions of Afghan refugees around the world, home is not just a place, it is a memory, a hope, a dream, until the day they can return.